Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I am going to be doing Angie's tag, the good, the bad and the ugly of new makeup releases. I was watching Angie's video and I thought, why have I not done this tag before? It's so much fun. I loved hearing her answers and immediately knew that I wanted to do her tag. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I think it's going to be pretty funny because I was watching Angie's and thinking my answers are very different to hers. And some of her least liked products are my most loved and vice versa. So I think it'll be super fun because we obviously have very different makeup tastes and different makeup preferences. Angie is just much more exciting than me. That's the main difference. She's much more colorful. She's much more creative. She's much more talented with makeup. So obviously we have very different vibes when it comes to the makeup we like. So I feel like it's a really good demonstration of how different products can be so different to different people who look for different things and just enjoy different makeup. So I thought it would be very fun to do her tag today. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first difference here is that Angie has come up with nine questions, which just goes to show how different we are as people, because that would not wash around here, okay? I beg you next year, Angie, it's gotta be 10. It's gotta be a round number. It's hurting my eyes. But the first question is, what mainstream release lived up to the hype the most this year? So this is how boring I am, okay? This is how boring I am. That my answer to this question is the Hourglass holiday palettes. I know that these are so divisive. I feel like there's a whole load of us who are obsessed with these, and these are just it. It's the release we're most excited for every year. I get them and I love them so much and I use them so much and they give me a lot of joy and a lot of excitement. You know, seeing the release, seeing the shades. Are they different to last year's? Have we got many new shades? And I feel like this is probably the most hyped release, maybe outside of the Pat McGrath Mothership that we didn't get this year. But this is overall, I'd say one of the most hyped releases every year. There's just so much excitement and hype about them. But for me this year, they really lived up to it. More than any other year, it was the most inclusive they've ever been. They gave us new shades, hallelujah. We got new shades. We got 3 palettes, which we have done now for a couple of years, but the rich deep one was even richer and deeper than it has been in previous years. We love to see it. So for me, those absolutely lived up to the hype. Even though we've been getting them for so many years, they just tick all of the boxes for me. I've told you I was boring, okay? What do you want from me? Next up, which indie release lived up to the hype most this year? So you know me, I don't do a lot of indie brands here. I don't review a lot of indie makeup, mainly down to the fact that I'm so boring and indie brands are typically a bit too exciting and colourful for me. But one indie release that immediately popped into my head as far as being super hyped and living up to that hype was the Viseart Sireneuse Etendu palette. This was the first product I've purchased from Viseart for a long time. The colour story just grabbed me by my lapels and yanked me to the checkout. And I really didn't think that I would necessarily love the formulas because I'm just not that familiar with them as a brand. But I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw the palette. It looked so unassuming. But when you start to swatch those shadows, they're so beautiful, so silky, such high quality. You don't get a lot of fallout. They're so creamy. They blend themselves. You don't need to build the shimmers. They are just there straight off of the bat. And you can use them wet or dry if you want to amp things up a bit. I just loved everything about that palette, and it sold out almost overnight. It sold out. So that just goes to show how excited everyone was for this palette, and I've yet to see anyone be disappointed in it. So for me, that absolutely lived up to the hype. Which release did not live up to the hype? For me, I'm gonna say the Patrick Tar duos. I think this is something that Angie and I agree on. It's not that they were bad, I just feel like there was so much chatter about these, and it didn't do Patrick any harm because there seemed to be this huge amount of outrage over the price of these, which I've never understood, because I know that, you know, 40-ish pounds for 2 eyeshadows, it's not, you know, cheap, it's not like a fiver. But it's also not wildly out of line with the pricing of similar brands. You know, MAC singles, I know we've spoken about MAC singles in comparison of some 20-ish pounds for one single matte eyeshadow. So a duo from a brand, I would say, you know, MAC, Patrick Tar, similar price points, similar, I would expect, Fenty. They're all like similar price pointed brands. They're like sort of mid-range. So I didn't think that that was that high for these duos that were extremely high pearl, you know, very, very shimmery, Italian made formulas, custom packaging with a mirror, etc. So I don't feel like it was that outlandish, but I think all of the talk about the price point gave them so much publicity. You know what they say, like no publicity is bad publicity. This is a demonstration of that, because these sold out instantly. Despite there being so much talk about the price point being ludicrous and no one was going to buy them, they sold out so quickly, restocked, sold out again. I've not been able to get away from these for forever. I picked up a couple to review on my channel and they're fine. They didn't knock my socks off and I can't really see me using them again. I picked up 2 shades still at the club, which is the deepest sort of gunmetal taupey brown duo, and it's nice. It's really pretty, really reflective, but it's just not a colour that I would wear a lot. And then I also got the Talk to My Team shade, which I feel like is very underwhelming as a little duo. It doesn't knock my socks off in any way, shape or form. So I feel like all of the hype that was kind of built up from the outrage of the cost actually pushed these to become this huge, massive thing, this massive big deal, when actually they're just eyeshadow duos that were fine. So for me, that did not live up to the hype, although a lot of the hype was outrage driven. Next up, what was the biggest curveball? So for me, this was the Charlotte Tilbury foundation stick. This confused me so much, and I feel like many of us, because it was called the Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint Hydrating Foundation Stick. I don't know that we needed 8 words, but that's how many we got. It's a lot, okay? So that was curveball number 1, just the sheer number of words in the title. Unexpected. But this was described as a ring light effect in a hydrating foundation stick. And yet when this arrived, it really, foundation, the word foundation does not belong in the name. We could have definitely taken that word out. We did 7, still probably 3 or 4 too many, you know? We definitely could have taken the F word, not that F word, foundation, out of the title. And I think I would have been a lot less confused about what to do with this darn stick. You know, it arrived and I applied it and thought, this is the strangest thing I've ever come across. So different to what I was expecting, so different to like Charlotte Tilbury product, I feel, as well, because, you know, she does a lot of soft glam, bridal glam, but I feel like her foundations typically, especially in more recent years, have, you know, a decent amount of coverage. Her beautiful skin, her airbrush flawless foundations, they've got a fair amount of coverage to them. Same thing with her concealer. So where is the coverage of this foundation stick? Why is it so Tin Man-y? What's happening here? What's going on? And it's a very different product, you know, quite innovative actually. I've learned to love this on sort of no makeup days as just a sort of like perfecting product, really glowy. But in winter, I like, in summer it was a little too much, but in winter it is really hydrating and my skin looks really beautifully glowy and like makeup free, just like blessed, you know, cheating, another word that we could throw in there. But it is gorgeous and I really enjoyed it. But getting to grips with that thing, working out what on earth it was, understanding how to use it even, was a trying time. But yeah, for me that was a real curveball. I didn't really understand what was happening. And then I did and I loved it. A roller coaster. Next up, I'm scared of these questions, Angie. You're terrifying me. What was the biggest letdown / snooze fest of this year. I'm going to have to go with these Dior Healthy Glow bronzers. What was the point? Why did we do it, Dior, is my question. I've slated these bronzers so many times, and I know I say the same thing over and over again, but I was flipping excited for these. I was so excited to try these. I thought they were going to be gorgeous, so I bought 3 and then discovered that all 3 were the exact same shade. But why? We don't know. And they were touted as being like one for light skin warm toned, one for light skin cool toned, one for deeper skin warm toned, one for deeper skin cool toned. And yet they were all the exact same, and they were all orange. Go figure. Who would have thought it? I beg your finest pardon. So I suppose this could have been in the curveball category as well, but not in a good way, because no thank you. We ordered glowy bronzers with a little bit of colour to them, and at least 2 of them were supposed to be cooler toned, and instead we got 4 identical orange matte bronzers, and they were just a waste of everybody's time, and especially money. So what was the question? I've forgotten. Oh yes, it was the biggest letdown. Sorry. I didn't know this video was going to make me so cross, to be honest. What was the unsung hero of 2024? This was an easy category, and it's nice that this is a more positive one. I feel more relaxed about this question. Is the Bobbi Brown foundation? Get involved, everybody. I feel like I'm the only person talking about this, and I do think it's because Bobbi Brown have really sort of gone off the boil as far as being a brand that everybody talks about and reviews every one of their products. So I think they're going to take a little while to sort of climb back up the ladder to interest cloud. But I see them getting there. I think 2025, Bobbi Brown are going to be back. They're going to be back, baby. And I feel like this foundation, along with their Dream Gleam palette, are 2 of the products that are going to get them there, because this is such a good foundation. Beautiful coverage, very natural, very skin-like, gorgeous undertones, beautiful packaging, wears amazingly well. Not enough people are talking about it. I think it's such a solid foundation, and I literally don't hear a single soul talking about it, and it's so good. More people need to know about it. What was the best holiday release this year? You already know because of the answer to the first question. For me, I think it was the Hourglass collection. I know I'm boring, and I will just own it, okay? That's who I am. These just do it for me. I am a face palette girl. Face palettes there's just nothing like it. Charlotte Tilbury didn't release one this year for holiday like she usually does, or she often does. So they had no competition for like face palette of the year. I just flipping love face palettes. Give me like multiple blushes in one place with gorgeous packaging and glowy finishes. I mean, what is going to compete with that? Nothing in this house, okay? These were gorgeous, so much variation, so many new shades. I can't get enough. We finally got peachy shades from Hourglass, and even like a neutral. We've been asking for years. Now give it to us in singles as well, okay? Keep it going. Why not? So for me, I absolutely adore those palettes. I love them every year. This year, more than any other year, I think it's the best they've ever done. For me, that was certainly the holiday release that gave me the most joy and excitement in my life. Question 8, what was the best collab of 2024? So for me, this was BK Beauty by Nikki LaRose. I love these brushes, so clever. I love both of these women. They're just amazing people, and I love the ethos behind BK Beauty. I love that it has that sort of kindness and good people at its heart, and good products at good price points. Add in the unbelievably talented Nikki LaRose, and what more could you possibly want? Because they gave me the ultimate concealer brush for a start. The concealer brush from this collab is my all-time favorite concealer brush. I barely use anything else when it comes to concealer. Such a beautiful collab, and I love that the brushes and the style and the color and everything really reflects Nikki as well, and her sort of style. I love that. I love that, you know, they didn't just slap her name on some BK Beauty brushes. You can really see the collaboration here. It's an absolute perfect amalgamation of the two people, the two brands, Lisa and Nikki, and also BK Beauty. It's got everything in there, everybody's DNA. is involved in a gorgeous little concoction, and I was here for it. And now question 9, which is what are your predictions for releases during the next year? So I do this as a separate video every year. I have a whole video. It will either have already gone up or it will be coming very, very soon. So I have, as usual, a whole video of the makeup releases that I think we're going to see in 2025. So refer to that video because I've got some very exciting guesses, let me tell you. Okay, so there you have it. That is my version of Angie's super fun tag video. Please, if you haven't already, watch Angie's video because it's so funny just to see how different our answers are. And Angie does go into a lot more detail and she gives a lot more answers, whereas I chose to do like one product or brand for each answer, but Angie has like given a whole plethora of options for each answer. So please go and check out Angie's original video and say hello from me while you're over there. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.